So over the last 2 decades, we haven't gotten many Metroid games, but the Metroid games that we did get, a lot of them included support for amiibos. So with that, I think it's fair to say that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will include amiibo support. Hell, even if many Metroid games didn't support amiibos, I would still say it would include amiibo support because Retro Studios is no stranger to supporting whatever it is that Nintendo has going on at the time that their game is releasing. Just look at Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, for example. That one game had Mii bobblehead support because Mii's were a thing at that time. They just were introduced to the world. The save file system that they had going on, where whatever save files of Nintendo first party games you had on your Wii, they would translate to stamps on your actual ship in game, was amazing. The nunchuck existed because Retro Studios felt that they needed that for Metroid Prime 3's gameplay. And that gameplay still stands the test of time to this day. Is an incredible one-of-one experience that you can only find still to this day on the Wii and Wii U family of systems. You know, Retro really took advantage of that Wii remote nunchuck, from throwing out your grapple beam with the flick of the wrist to pointing, all over the screen, and them adding more verticality because of those controls. They did their thing. And that's why I'm not worried about them having fun with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And that's what this video is really about. Having fun with Metroid Prime as an IP. Just with Metroid as an IP. So, seeing as Amiibos is still part of what's going on in the realm of Nintendo, and Retro being so good at supporting what Nintendo has going on at the time, I think expecting Amiibo support makes the perfect amount of sense because, again, it's Retro Studios. This is what they do. They support what Nintendo has going on. So I want them to give me a reason to open up my combo pack from Metroid Dread, the Emmy and Samus. I have that. I know it worked with Metroid Dread, but I didn't open it, so I didn't use it with Metroid Dread. But give me a reason. That is the point of Amiibo, right? To work not only in the games that they launch around, but also future games. So yeah, that's what I want. I want a reason to open that. Give me a reason to grab my Smash Brothers amiibos that are based around Metroid, so the Ridleys and the Samuses and all those different amiibos that came out, Zero Suit. Give us a reason. Now, look, while I understand that they can't give us too good of a reason, because people then will complain, oh, you're trapping all this great stuff behind amiibos. That's when you introduce DLC on the eShop. So for those of you who missed out on specific amiibos, you can get that stuff as DLC on the eShop, so that nothing is really trapped behind an amiibo. It's just those of us who already have amiibos can unlock that specific thing with our amiibos. We don't have to pay, but you who don't got the amiibo, yeah, you'll have to pay. And the price for these things should be as cheap as the Mii skins in Smash Brothers. Nothing beyond that, because at the end of the day, what I'm proposing you unlock, in my opinion, doesn't seem that it's the kind of thing that you should be charging an arm and a leg for. And yeah, let's get into exactly what it is that I think you should be unlocking with your amiibos. And again, these things will be optional and be purchasable on the eShop if you don't have the amiibo. So all your complaining is unnecessary. There is a way for you to still unlock this stuff. It's also just cosmetics. Most of it isn't going to be things where it is dramatically changing up your game. Most of it, I might have some ideas that go in that direction, but still, yeah, let's get to it. So yeah, Amiibos unlocking cool costumes. Look, if Mario, Link, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Peach, Showtime, all these games can have all this amazing, customization, all these characters were fashionable, Samus has always been fashionable. She's always gotten suit upgrades and things like that. So why can't I get cool costumes for Samus, right? Again, Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the list of games that Nintendo makes, Splatoon, that has customization. There's no excuse why, Samus can't get some. And look. I know some might say, oh, that's too much for Metroid. Metroid is a serious thing. Doom is a serious thing. Doom Slayer is a super serious character, and yet, if I chose to, I could run around Doom Eternal, the entire game from beginning to end, even in cinematics, as a pink unicorn in a red Doom Slayer suit. I could be Doom Guy, yes, in multiple different variations of that OG Doom Guy costume. I can have a Conan-like, old school Doom Warrior costume. There was a lot that you can wear in that game. Again, including a pink unicorn. Yes, it was there in super mature, super serious game like Doom. So why can't Samus has fun? Why Samus got to take herself serious 24/7? So a few ideas of what amiibos can unlock. Right? Obviously, these will mostly be power suit upgrades. But imagine scanning Kirby's amiibo, and that gives you a pink power suit. But then in the visor, you got the Kirby eyes in it. That's hilarious. Wouldn't that be awesome in the game? Because I would love that. I'll be running around pink Samus all day cinematics, all these epic shots like you see when Silex bursting through the damn wall and the camera pans to Samus and Prime 4 right there. You be having the little Kirby eyes in the visor. That would be hilarious. And again, optional, you know. Stickers obviously for Samus ship. There, they should do that again. We got cloud save files from at this time, you know, when the game is coming out. Let's say it's, you know, on the next Switch, obviously, but it's also on the Switch. You got cloud saves from your Switch game, so those could translate to stickers on your actual ship. But they also don't have to be exclusive to the outside of the ship like it was in Prime 3. Maybe you can decorate the inside of your ship. Maybe there'll be actual, you know, amiibos that you can scan and they'll put little amiibos on a little shelf inside of your ship in the same way Samus had a bobblehead. Why not? It's just more fun opportunities. But I talked about costumes now, right? A pink, you know, Kirby costume. So it's like, yeah, scanning amiibos might give you a specific kind of Samus power suit, right? I talked about stickers now. That's cool. But actual in-game things are also possible. So, for example, you scan Lincoln, right? So Lincoln give you like courageous energy. So now you got more energy. Zelda can basically use her wisdom in order to give you directions to unlock little secrets, maybe an energy tank here and there and things like that, right? Ganondorf can do something where he basically does a blood moon to all the you know enemies in the game, and so they're basically harder. Or it could be a blood moon situation where it'll be like Tears of the Kingdom, where you basically can't ever go max hearts and you're lacking some hearts. Well, in this case, it won't be hearts. It'll be energy tanks. And so it makes the game more difficult. But these things are falling under the accessibility category. And anything that's accessibility should not be tied behind an amiibo 100%. You know, so these things, again, should still be accessible, not even behind the paywall, just in the actual in-game menus. Things like that should be there. Maybe the amiibos might be like a additive, like even harder thing, you know, to make the game harder for you. Then like that, it's fine. But again, that kind of stuff should be available on the eShop. Look, I just mentioned Samus having her amiibos on the shelf in the actual, you know, game. Imagine being able to buy virtual amiibos for your Switch account. So yeah, those are in the game, but you can actually scan them within the game. So I have a Ganondorf in real life, but you got one in game. You know, so now it basically just works the same way. You know, something like that can also work, and I think that'll just be cool. I see like online they sell like these bootleg, you know, decks of amiibo cards, which basically just work as amiibos. You know, so why not Nintendo just do that? You know, it's a market right there that they can just apply, and just more incentive to have Switch Online, things like that. It's like, yeah, you got your little locker with your amiibos and things like that. So those things can then work in future Splatoon games, whatever, because amiibos went from being a physical thing to a digital thing, but still also physical, you know, 100% still definitely have some physical amiibos. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, things that I just feel like things that fall under the category of accessibility, because while that's not accessibility per se, making the game harder with this, you know, Ganondorf amiibo or Blood Moon idea, it is part of the accessibility of people who want the game to be more difficult. I look at that as the same thing. It's just, you know, going to which way you want to go, easier or more difficult. Maybe it's like, yeah, the regular game isn't good enough for me. I need more of a challenge. That's why Metroid got hyper modes and things like that. So yeah, it's basically that. What else, man? Look, I just look at it like the power suit can look like anything. If they want it to look like anything, it can look like absolutely anything. You know, and so I'm not against, you know, having you scan the weirdest amiibos and it's like, oh look, now, you know, the character looks like that amiibo from that specific game. Your scan choke, and now your arm cannon looks like the Monado. You know what I mean? These are the kind of things that I'm talking about. They would literally be just cosmetic, nothing that actually changes up the gameplay like that. You know, it's just little visual things that you can add. And a lot of this stuff, like I said, should not be expensive like that. I'm talking price like the Mii's in Smash Brothers costumes, like $3, things like that, $4. Like maybe, oh, this third party thing, so it's gonna be $5. But even now, I don't even care for third party stuff like that. I just want it to be, amiibos, Nintendo related things, your save file, basic stuff like that. I think it's super cool, and you know, I want to see obviously amiibos come out with this game. I want a combo pack of Samus and Silex. I think that needs to happen, like Samus and the Emmy. But I also want Galactic Federation Force Soldier versus a space pirate. Why not? If there's a big baddie that's, even worse than Silex in Prime 4, which I think we can all assume that'll be the case, yeah, getting an amiibo of that would be cool. Probably wouldn't happen if they don't want to spoil it, but that would be cool too. The way I see it is the more merch, the better. And again, I know many will complain about this stuff, but it doesn't affect your game personally in no way, shape, or form. So you would just be complaining about things just for the sake of complaining. Like somebody actually went in the comment section of one of my videos and was like, "Oh, no DLC, please don't ruin this." Like, what do you mean ruin what? Like, you don't want the DLC? Don't buy it. How is adding more, giving us more video game a bad thing? I don't get it. Now, some might complain, like, the current Call of Duty complaining going on is that people don't want to see Rick and Michonne from Walking Dead running around. They don't want to see Lilith from Diablo running around. They want a way to toggle that off so that they can just see generic soldiers while they're playing their game of Call of Duty, right? And I get it. That's fine because that's affecting your software. You're seeing all these characters, all these weird things in your software. But again, all this stuff is customization, that can entice players to the series and things like that, right? Obviously, it can sell amiibos and things like that. Can you imagine like having the R-Wing skin? You know what I'm saying? Like, and now your ship looks like the R-Wing from Star Fox. That'd be amazing. But again, this is only affecting our specific game, my specific game. Whatever I do, you're not seeing my game. You know what I mean? Unless you're watching my content, basically. But for most other people, you're not seeing their game. So if they choose to run around in Doom Eternal as a unicorn, that's their prerogative. It don't affect you at all. So you being like, oh yeah, I don't want that in my Metroid. Like, why? It doesn't affect you. You can continue to play Metroid the way you want to play it. You'll still see your story-based power suit upgrades. You won't be seeing no Kirby, googly eyes in Samus's visor because you're running around in a pink Kirby suit. Nah, it's just optional stuff. I feel like Nintendo sleeps at the wheel when it comes to DLC. Like you look at something like Mario Odyssey, they could have added more kingdoms. Zelda, they could have added new lands to traverse. Animal Crossing, they probably left millions on the table, from not supporting that game with a lot more content. And then you look at things like Mario Kart 8 and the booster course pass. Like we were asking for new courses in the first few years of the Switch's life cycle, and we got them basically at the end of the life cycle when most of us already was ready for the next entry in Mario Kart. The point is that Nintendo can, do a lot of DLC for a lot of their IP, and they tend to not do that. And I hope that they do. And even if it's a case where, oh, they're not going to do a lot of DLC with Prime 4 because it's a game that's releasing on, Switch in the next system, then fine. But then I look at it and go, but Breath of the Wild got DLC, new story stuff, and Tears of the Kingdom didn't. And one of those games was on the last gen console and the other wasn't. So that wasn't an issue then. So it shouldn't be an issue with Prime 4. So Prime 4 should be able to get DLC that works across both Switch and the successor to the Switch, whatever that next generation hardware is. And I just feel like Amiibos, it was always a promise. It was the promise of you buy this thing and it's basically a little piece of DLC that you get to have. You don't know what it's going to be in future games, but it'll likely work with future games. So while some games, they might just give you rupees and little things like that. Oh yeah, that's all well and good. But when we're talking about accessibility and things like that, imagine scanning in Zero Suit or the Metroid amiibo that came, when Metroid 2's re-release on 3DS. Like, imagine scanning that and now you get like your Wolf Link like companion, but it's a Metroid and it's the baby. And again, you can just get that as DLC on the eShop. Oh yeah, I want that. Whatever. Fine, you can just get that. It's again optional stuff, but that's more in the realm of actual, again, accessibility. So I don't think that should be like priced or anything like that, really. So again, it's like, man, so how does these specific things work? Look, when it's accessibility, it should be free. When it's anything else, if you got your amiibo, it can unlock it. But then there's going to be things also that, for example, your amiibo isn't going to unlock. Because, well, that's just DLC on the eShop. So just because I got amiibo doesn't mean I get everything. It's just specific things that, oh, you're good on that. You don't got to purchase that because you got an amiibo. But other things you might have to purchase. But things like accessibility features, like having a helper, that's like having your Luma in Mario Galaxy 2 or 1, helping you in your actual single player. Yeah, that's cool. But don't charge me for that. So having the Metroid come in and being like, oh yeah, while you shooting space pirates, you can have your friend basically play as a Metro, or even if it's not a friend, because that's going too far. I'm jumping ahead now into videos, but wink wink, next videos. But nah, just having that as a wolf-like companion to help you out, I think is really cool. You know what I'm saying? I think that'll be like one of the coolest things that you can actually do with an amiibo is to say, oh yeah, this amiibo unlocks a Wolf Link like companion in Metroid. So again, you shooting people over here, over there, and this thing is just draining the life out of enemies. And maybe when it drains the life out of enemies, that life goes to you and things like that. Again, to make the game easier, accessibility, something like that. That could be really cool. So yeah, man, there's a lot that you can do with amiibo support. And Prime 3, again, no stranger to supporting everything Nintendo had going on at the time. And hell, they even were supporting things that Nintendo wasn't supporting at the time, but were going on in the realm of video games at the time with their little achievement system that they had in the game. Like retro really is good when it comes to having like features like that in the game. So why not? I mean, these are the guys also who did the funky mode in, Tropical Freeze re-release. So why not, man? I think the promise of Amiibo needs to continue. And what better IP than Metroid? I gave y'all a few ideas. What ideas would you have for, Amiibo support in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.